One vital dimension of health often remains unspoken or avoided: the social fabric of health. Recent global reports underscore this powerfully. Strong social connections protect against inflammation, lower risks of heart disease, stroke, dementia, depression, and premature death. Benefits on par with quitting smoking 15 cigarettes a day in some analyses. Loneliness, by contrast, affects 1 in 6 people worldwide and is linked to an estimated 871,000 deaths annually. It damages our health in many ways: higher cortisol, weakened immunity, poorer sleep, and eroded emotional regulation. Why, then, do so many hesitate to connect? The barrier is real and ancient. People hurt one another, intentionally through cruelty or betrayal, unintentionally through thoughtlessness, miscommunication, or their own unhealed pain. Rejection stings. Criticism lands like a blow. Betrayal fractures trust. In response, many withdraw into self-protection, trading potential vitality for the illusion of safety. Isolation feels like armor, but it exacts a steep toll, pushing us further toward fatigue, anxiety, and diminished function. There is a better way. A mindset shift that honors both the evidence on social health and the philosophical wisdom of resilience. Do not take yourself too seriously, and do not take others too seriously. This is not flippancy or detachment from care. It is a mature, compassionate lightness, an artful balance that frees us to connect without the heavy armor of ego. By not taking yourself too seriously, you become less sensitive, less self-protective, and less defensive. By not taking others too seriously, you grow stronger, less vulnerable, and more self-assertive. This dual practice becomes a powerful lever for emotional mastery and conviction in your inherent worth, enabling authentic social engagement that steadily improves personal health spectrum. Part 1. Release the grip on yourself. Taking yourself too seriously often stems from an over-identified ego, the belief that every slight, failure, or awkward moment defines your worth. We armor up, scanning for threats to our image, replaying conversations, and bracing against judgment. The result? Chronic sensitivity that drains emotional energy, self-protective withdrawal that limits new bonds, and defensiveness that poisons dialogue. Science and ancient wisdom converge here. Research on self-compassion, pioneered by psychologist Kristin Neff, shows that treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a good friend reduces anxiety, depression, and rumination while boosting emotional resilience and stable self-worth. Unlike fragile self-esteem that crashes with criticism, self-compassion creates an unconditional inner anchor. It correlates with greater life satisfaction, optimism, and even better physical health markers through lowered stress responses. Philosophically, this echoes traditions from Stoicism to mindfulness practices. Epictetus reminded us that our judgments, not external events, disturb us. When you stop seeing your dear self as the center of every story, you gain perspective. A rude comment says more about the speaker's bad day than your value. Playfulness and humor research further supports this. Adults who cultivate lightheartedness show greater adaptability, creativity, and social ease. Practical tools for inner lightness. To integrate this mindset into your daily life, consider the following actionable steps. 1. Morning reflection. Spend 2 minutes affirming your common humanity. Say to yourself, I am imperfect like everyone else, and that's okay. This directly counters the toxic perfectionism that fuels chronic sensitivity. 2. Humor as medicine. When you catch yourself spiraling over a minor social misstep, pause and reframe the moment lightly. Well, that was human of me. Psychological studies link gentle self-mockery to reduced defensiveness and stronger, more authentic relationships. 3. Vulnerability. Experiments. Start small by sharing a minor opinion, preference, or funny personal story in low-stakes settings. Brené Brown's extensive work on vulnerability shows it builds connection precisely because it models the exact courage we all admire. You become less self-protective as you discover that most people respond with empathy, not judgment. 4. Body-based reset. Notice physical tension, like tightly clenched shoulders or a stiff jaw, during social interactions. Deliberately breathe, soften your posture, and remind yourself, this fleeting moment does not define me. The payoff on your health spectrum is immediate and measurable. Reduced sensitivity lowers chronic stress, which directly improves sleep, immune function, and even metabolic health. Instead of feeling exhausted by social interactions, you begin to function with genuine energy. Part 2. Lighten your view of others. The flip side of this framework is equally transformative. Stop seeing others as omnipotent forces capable of shattering your peace. Their words, moods, and actions are filtered through their insecurities, histories, and blind spots. Rarely are they a pure, objective verdict on your value. Taking others too seriously keeps us emotionally hooked, causing us to endlessly replay past offenses and shrink away from taking future social risks. We become highly vulnerable to every minor slight, hesitant to assert our boundaries, and trapped in an exhausting cycle of resentment. The evidence supporting this shift is clear. Meta-analyses consistently link forgiveness and emotional detachment practices to lower blood pressure, reduced anxiety, fewer depressive symptoms, better sleep quality, and even improved cholesterol levels. Stoic philosophy offers timeless tools to combat this vulnerability. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius advised focusing exclusively on what is within your control, your own choices and responses, while actively releasing your attachment to other people's volatile opinions. Modern cognitive behavioral approaches echo this precise wisdom, reappraising someone else's toxic or careless behavior as data about them, not a reflection of me, builds immense psychological resilience. Importantly, this mindset does not mean falling into naivety or adopting a boundary-less tolerance for poor behavior. Instead, it fosters profound inner strength. You become less vulnerable because your self-worth is no longer outsourced to the whims of outsiders. Consequently, you grow more self-assertive. You can speak your truth calmly, logically, and firmly, knowing that an adverse reaction from another person is a reflection on them, not on you. Practical tools for external lightness. 1. The not about me. Reframe. Immediately after an interaction that stings, pause and ask yourself, what heavy burden or bad day might they be carrying that prompted this reaction? This short-circuits internal rumination and cultivates genuine empathy without you absorbing their negative emotional weight. 2. Forgiveness as a health practice. Write a brief, private letter releasing the hurt from a specific individual. Keep in mind that you do not need to send it. Research from prominent institutions like Johns Hopkins shows that targeted forgiveness practices significantly reduce physiological stress markers within weeks. 3. Boundary with lightness. Practice clear, assertive communication. I felt dismissed when that happened. I'd like us to try a different approach next time. Healthy self-assertion flows naturally when you are no longer bracing for an existential threat to your ego. 4. Curated exposure. Gradually seek out diverse, new social settings, such as book clubs, volunteer organizations, or community events. Treat each event as a playful practice field for testing your new lightness. As you implement these tools, track how your position on the health spectrum steadily improves. You will quickly notice more daily energy for routine tasks and far greater mood stability. Together, these practices amplify your emotional regulation, ensuring it becomes highly skillful rather than purely reactive. They reinforce a powerful reality. Your conviction in your purpose and worth stands entirely independent of external validation. Part 3. Integrating lightness into your complete health spectrum. This powerful dual mindset is not an isolated psychological trick. It actively synergizes with every single pathway of your well-being. The profound emotional regulation gained from reduced defensiveness fundamentally alters your biology. Lowering your internal alarm system allows your parasympathetic nervous system to take over, which directly improves sleep quality and accelerates physical recovery. Furthermore, lighter, low-stress social interactions eliminate the emotional triggers that frequently lead to stress eating or using food as a comfort mechanism, thereby naturally supporting your nutritional health. When you are no longer utterly drained by hours of toxic mental rumination, you will find yourself possessing far more physical energy and motivation for exercise, movement, and creative hobbies. Most importantly, your overarching sense of life purpose deepens significantly. When human connections feel fundamentally nourishing and cooperative rather than threatening and adversarial, The world opens up as a place of opportunity rather than a minefield of potential rejection. A real-world transformation. To see this framework in action, consider a practical example. Imagine an individual who once actively avoided their colleagues for weeks after receiving a piece of constructive criticism during a staff meeting. They viewed the critique as a total devastation of their professional value. By adopting this dual lightness framework, their approach shifts entirely. First, they laugh at the situation internally, acknowledging that mistakes are a normal part of the career journey. Second, they realize the manager's blunt tone was likely a result of corporate pressure, not personal animosity. The next day, they engage with their team using lighthearted humor, assert their ideas confidently, and actively collaborate to build supportive workplace networks. The real-world results of this shift are multidimensional. Their clinical laboratory markers for stress and inflammation improve, an objective measure. Their daily energy levels rise noticeably, a functional improvement. True joy returns to their daily routine, a subjective emotional shift. By changing their perspective, they move measurably toward the vibrant side of their health spectrum, striking the right balance. Of course, maintaining a healthy balance matters immensely. Practicing lightness is absolutely not about living in total denial of real objective harm. Setting serious personal boundaries, walking away from toxic environments, or seeking professional therapeutic help remain absolutely essential when dealing with instances of abuse, exploitation, or deep-seated trauma. Nor is lightness meant to be a constant, exhausting performance of toxic positivity. Human life is rich and varied. Some moments of profound grief, loss, and injustice warrant absolute gravity, quiet reflection, and deep seriousness. The true art of living lies in fine-tuning your discernment. The goal is to learn how to hold what deserves true seriousness firmly, while holding the vast majority of our daily, clumsy human interactions lightly enough to stay open, compassionate, and engaged with the world. Conclusion. Your next step. True health is never a solitary, isolated achievement. It is an inherently relational journey that we walk alongside other flawed, beautiful, and complex human beings. By deliberately releasing the heavy, suffocating seriousness we so often place on our own actions and the actions of those around us, we systematically dismantle the very fears of rejection and judgment that isolate us in the first place. In doing so, we successfully reclaim social connection as the incredibly powerful medicine it truly is, medicine that is robustly evidence-backed, philosophically rich, and profoundly human. You can start practicing this liberating mindset today with one small, intentional action. Perhaps it is initiating a brief, lighthearted conversation with a neighbor you usually pass by in silence. Or perhaps it is taking a single, self-compassionate pause to laugh at yourself before going to bed tonight. As you experiment with these shifts, pay close attention to your body and mind. Notice how your position on the health spectrum begins to shift, even if only subtly at first, away from defensive fatigue and directly toward radiant vitality. What's one small step you'll take this week to practice not taking yourself or others too seriously? Share it in the comments below. If this resonated, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss practical, science-backed wellness insights.